Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. You join me here on the River Nene, and the plan today is to try and catch myself a chub, and maybe if we're lucky a pike as well. Now I've not fished this stretch for probably a couple of years properly. It's the backwater, one of the little backwaters of the Nene. It's got loads of character, lots of bends, lots of overhanging trees, little eddies as well. So I'm going to drop into as many swims as I can over the next 2 or 3 hours. Fishing mainly bread flake on the hook and just moving quickly, travelling light. So give each swim, I don't know, 10-20 minutes, just a few casts really, and see if we can't catch a chub. After every little session for chub, I'm also going to fish like a little crankbait, just kind of pull that through the swim and see if there's any pike at home as well. It's unseasonably warm at the moment, so conditions I think are quite good for fish and also the fishermen too. So fingers crossed, let's get fishing and see what happens. This is me arriving the first spot, and you can see that bush down there on the right hand side. It looks really tasty for chub. So, you know, big flake of bread there on the hook. I'm not putting any free offerings in. I haven't mashed any bread or blitzed any bread up. I'm just hoping that a big flake of bread on the hook would be enough to kind of tempt anyone that might be there. Casting just above that snag and then it's swinging. Despite 2 or 3 goes in this first swim, no one showed themselves. Normally, I guess if there's chub home, you might expect to bite quite quickly. So it's kind of few casts move, that's the order of the day. Now this second swim's a really beautiful spot. It's at the top of the section, top of the beak where I'm fishing. And you can see the river kind of splits off the main river, comes down into this backwater, around like a little island, and you've got some really kind of good fast water and like a whirlpool forming there. And the crease and the kind of slightly deeper water on the inside near where I am, you can just see that on the right hand side, is really quite tempting. I've caught chub out of here in the past. It looks good for other species too. I wouldn't be surprised if there aren't barbel in this backwater. I'm just going to cast around with the lead, same as before. Bread flake on the hook. And just see if there's anyone at home. And I do get 1 or 2 like very little rattles, don't connect with anything. It's quite snaggy this swim too. I do lose a hook or 2 in the process. Time to move, but before I do, I thought I'd stick a lure on, a little paddle tail there. Do it at the end of the session so I'm not scaring any chub that might be at home, and just run the lure through a few times. See if there aren't any pike hanging in that slack of water on the inside.
Oh, yeah, we're in. Are we? Oh, we are in, yes. Oh, that's a nice pike. It's come up like a log, like a dead weight. Look at that. It feels like it doesn't, almost doesn't know it's hooked. Let's try and get it in. Here we go. Look at that. Oh, wow, there is almost no fight in that at all. Very strange.
How's about that? So that is, I don't know, it's not a monster, but I'm going about £7, maybe £8 on there. And as you've probably seen, you know, I was fishing in this lovely whirlpool here for chub. I had a couple of little finicky bites on bread, and I thought it's time to move. But before I did, I thought I'd run a little lure through the swim and just see if there's any pike lurking in the edge. And second cast, the rod went solid. It wasn't really kind of surging or fighting. I even thought I'd maybe had a snag. This fish just came in really like a sack of potatoes. But I'm not complaining. You know, it's a lovely looking fish. There we go. So, what's that? £7 of Nene Valley pike. Beautiful fish. Very welcome on a cold winter's day like this. Off you go, matey. Oh. Right, so just a quick run through of the rig. Very, very simple. I've got a small spinning rod here. I think it's 9 or 10 foot. It's a Daiwa D-spin. and I've got one of these little lures on with a 15-gram jig head, and I've got braid, 15-pound braid, wire trace on. Obviously we're after pike, we might get other things too, we might get a perch or a chub if we're lucky, but dead simple, you know. I was going for the chub. The plan really is, you know, fish the swim for chub, give it 3 or 4 casts into the likely looking holes, and then before moving on, you know, run a lure through the swim. I've caught pike here in the past whilst chub fishing, you know, just winding bread in and stuff like that, so I thought it's worth kind of putting a lure through and see if there's any pike at home, and well, it worked, didn't it? So great. I think this swim done, so I'm going to head off now downstream, look for some new swims, get back on the chub, but keep giving pike a go as we go. Right, awesome. So this channel's called Wildlife and Fishing, so we better talk wildlife for a little bit. And there was plenty of red kites wheeling around the sky that day. Common sight around the UK now, certainly in the Nene Valley. And at this time of the year, it's winter, we get lots of winter geese coming in. There's flocks of greylag going over. There's mutes one out in the field too. But I spotted this, which intrigued me. It's quite a large hole. I think it's originally a rabbit hole, but you can see the kind of claw marks there down the side. It's certainly too big for a rabbit now, and it's either a badger or it might be a fox. But when you look at the kind of width of the track there, it's not very wide. It's much more likely to be a fox. You see how they run, they sort of, their feet fall one on top of the other. Badger's much wider, broader animal, so fairly sure that was a fox den there in the field. And while we're taking a little pause from the chub fishing, I thought I'd just bring you up to speed as well. I did go out fishing the previous week with my mate Jim. We went out on Rutland Water fishing for zander. Beautiful sunny day, cold wind, and we fished hard. You know, we were using lures on the bottom, just jigging. You can see me just gently kind of jigging, feeling for the bites, and the waves are rolling in. We gave it a good day. We fished for 10-12 hours. Really froze our socks off. Jim had a little bite, I think, briefly, but that was it for the day's effort. But you know, you win some, you lose some, so let's get back to the chub. So trying another likely looking hole further down the stretch. Cast, wait and see. I mean, ideal conditions, I'd be walking the full stretch beforehand, dropping in some mashed bread into each likely looking spot, or just leapfrogging ahead even, you know, putting some bait in the next swim, fishing this swim. But it's only a short session for me today, maybe 2-3 hours, something like that, and no time for that, so it's just a case of fishing each spot as I find it, doing my best, moving on. Doesn't look much this swim, but it's slightly deeper on that far side there, and I've caught fish here in the past. I think the bank's slightly cut away or on a bit of a bend. See that snag on the inside? I've already clocked that in case we get a chub. They always aim for it, don't they? Well, that's the end of another session. I hope you enjoyed that. I know I did. Yeah, I think it's one of those sessions that kind of shows the importance of having a plan B. I mean, my plan A was to come out catching chub today, and I fished, I don't know, 6 or 7 different spots. Worked hard, you know, mixed bread with worm on the hook, you know, and had one kind of rattle in the first swim, but nothing else since then. But my plan B that I had in my back pocket was about fishing for pikes. At the end of every kind of chub session, once I was leaving the swim, just put a lure through like a little paddle tail, just see if there's anything at home. So I've caught fish here on the past, you know, just winding in bread, so I know there's pike here. Yeah, and in that very first swim, it came good. You know, that lovely pike, whatever it was, 6-7 pound, cracking fish. Didn't really fight well, bit of a sack of spuds coming in, but very welcome. You know, really nice that I'm not going home, you know, empty-handed. If you're going out fishing yourself soon, good luck, tight lines, I hope you catch something. If you do like the videos, please do like, subscribe, comment. I do read and try and respond to as many as I can. Yeah, and I'll see you in the next video.